My brother told everyone I was faking my pregnancy to get attention on social media. Imagine that, standing in a room full of family, friends, and people who had once celebrated every milestone of my life, only to hear my own brother suggest that I was lying about carrying a child, that the baby bump I had was just some pathetic grab for likes and sympathy online. I wish I could say I laughed it off, that it didn't matter what he said, but the truth is, it hit me like a slap across the face. Because lies, once spoken, have a way of spreading faster than the truth ever does. The moment it happened, we were at a Sunday family barbecue in my parents' backyard. The kind of place where the smell of grilled meat and sunscreen mingles, where you can hear kids running across the grass and adults clinking glasses. I had just settled into a lawn chair, one hand on my belly out of habit, when my brother decided to speak up. "You know," he said loud enough for everyone to hear, "it's funny how suddenly she's pregnant right when her followers started dropping. Almost like someone needed some attention." Laughter followed. Not everyone's, but enough to sting. My cousin snickered into her drink. An uncle chuckled nervously, and even my mother's smile faltered like she didn't know what to believe. My fiance's hand tightened on mine, grounding me, but I felt like I had been yanked out of my own body and shoved under a spotlight. Why did he say it? That question kept me awake for nights after. Was it jealousy? Some twisted attempt at humor? Or did he really believe it? The sad part is, when a lie like that gets planted, it doesn't matter what you do. It starts to take root in people's minds. And soon, little looks from relatives at dinner, small whispers from friends online, started making me feel like I was walking through a cloud of suspicion I never asked for. Let me back up a little, because maybe you're wondering how it got this far. I've always been active on social media, not in the way influencers are, but I liked sharing parts of my life. Photos of trips, milestones, silly captions. My following wasn't huge, but it was enough that when I posted about my pregnancy, people congratulated me. I shared a picture of the sonogram, a shot of me holding tiny baby shoes, and the comments poured in. For the first time, I felt like my happiness was reflected back at me, multiplied by all the people who were rooting for me. But then came the comments. At first it was one or two. "Are you sure?" someone wrote. Another said, "This feels staged." I brushed them off, thinking trolls were just being cruel. But the comments grew, became sharper, like knives disguised as questions. "Where's the proof? Looks like she's just gaining weight. Clout pregnancy?" And I wondered, where were they getting this idea? The answer hit me at that barbecue. My brother, the person I grew up with, the one who teased me about crushes, who fought with me over the TV remote, who once carried me home when I sprained my ankle. He was the one feeding the fire. It wasn't strangers planting doubt, it was him. The thing about family is, you want to believe they're on your side, no matter what. But when they turn against you, it cuts deeper than any stranger ever could. After that day, I started noticing how often his words popped up in conversations. My aunt asked, "So, how are you feeling? Really pregnant, huh?" With this sly look like she was in on some joke. A friend texted me, "Is everything okay? I keep hearing stuff." My own grandmother, sweet and frail, patted my hand one afternoon and said, "Don't worry, dear. You don't need to lie to be loved." Lie. That word crushed me. I wasn't lying. I wasn't making it up. I had the doctor visits, the nausea, the exhaustion, the fluttering movements inside me that were as real as anything I'd ever felt. And yet somehow, my truth was less believable than his lie. I tried confronting him once. I called him late at night when I knew he'd be half distracted playing video games. "Why are you saying this stuff about me?" I asked, my voice trembling. He laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, come on. You know you live for the attention. I just said what everyone's thinking. Don't take it so seriously. Everyone's not thinking that," I snapped. "You're planting it." "Relax," he said. "If it's real, then prove it. Show them the bump. Show the scans. Isn't that what social media's for?" I hung up on him, but his words stuck. Prove it. Suddenly, my pregnancy wasn't mine anymore. It was a performance I was supposed to document, to defend. I posted more photos, more updates, trying to drown out the whispers, but each post brought more doubt. The more I tried to prove, the less they seemed to believe. And every time I saw my brother's smug face at family gatherings, I knew he was enjoying it. What people don't tell you is how isolating pregnancy can feel even without the lies. Your body changes, your emotions swing like a pendulum, your future feels both thrilling and terrifying. Add to that the suspicion of people you love, and it's unbearable. I stopped wanting to go out. I avoided family dinners. Even scrolling through social media felt like walking into a battlefield where my happiness was under constant attack. But here's where the story shifts, because while my brother was busy tearing me down, something else was happening quietly, almost invisibly. My fiancé, the one person who never doubted me, began documenting everything, not for social media, not for clout, but for us. He came to every doctor's appointment, holding my hand as the ultrasound wand pressed against my stomach, recording the sound of our baby's heartbeat. He took photos of the notes stuck to the fridge, prenatal vitamins, appointment reminders, baby name lists, scrawled in messy handwriting. He captured the nights I fell asleep on the couch mid-sentence, exhaustion written across my face, and he saved it all. One night, when I broke down crying after reading another comment accusing me of lying, he pulled out his phone. "Look," he said softly, showing me the videos, the photos, the recordings. "This is the truth. This is our proof. You don't owe anyone else a damn thing." And in that moment, something clicked. Maybe I didn't owe the world an explanation. Maybe the only people who needed to believe were me, him, and the tiny heartbeat we'd heard thumping inside me. But here's the twist. You think the story ends with me ignoring the lies, choosing peace. It doesn't. Because as much as I wanted to rise above it, there was still a fire inside me, a need to confront the damage my brother had done. That confrontation came months later, at my baby shower. The room was filled with pastel balloons, laughter, piles of gifts wrapped in pinks and blues. I had chosen to invite my brother because I still believed, somewhere deep down, that he could change, that maybe seeing the reality would silence him. But when someone asked if I wanted to post a group photo to Instagram, he smirked and said, "Careful, make sure you Photoshop the bump big enough." The room froze. Everyone looked at him, then at me, waiting to see what I'd do. The air at my baby shower went from warm and celebratory to cold and tense in seconds after my brother's comment. His smirk lingered like a stain, and I swear I heard the sound of balloons brushing against each other, the silence so sharp it felt like the whole room had stopped breathing. My hands instinctively went to my stomach, a protective gesture I hadn't even realized had become second nature, and I looked right at him. His eyes didn't drop. He wanted this. He wanted the room to laugh, to doubt, to turn on me the way he had been turning people against me for months. And for the first time, I didn't feel the need to hide or avoid it. I felt something else. Anger. Not the quick, flashing kind that makes you say something you regret, but the slow burn, controlled kind. The kind that builds quietly and waits for its moment. I stood up. My fiance's hand brushed mine as if to ask, "Are you sure?" But I was already sure. I looked at the people gathered, the aunts sipping champagne, the cousins holding paper plates stacked with cupcakes, my parents sitting stiffly on the couch. And I said, as calmly as I could, "Do you all want proof? Is that it? Because I can give it to you." My brother chuckled, leaning back in his chair, arms crossed like he had just won. "Come on," he said. "No one's asking for proof, we're just joking." But no one laughed this time. Not even the cousin who always laughed at his jokes. They were watching me, waiting, so I pulled out my phone. I opened the folder my fiancé had built, the one filled with months of quiet truth, ultrasounds, appointment notes, heartbeat recordings. I pressed play on the video of our baby's heartbeat, the sound echoing through the room. Thump, 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 steady and undeniable. I turned the screen toward the guests, showing the grainy black and white image of the tiny form moving inside me. "This," I said, my voice shaking but strong, "is my child. This is my body carrying life. And for months, I've had to defend something that should never have needed defending because my own brother decided it was funny to tell people I was lying, that I was faking it, that my baby wasn't real." The silence was different now. Heavy, uncomfortable. My aunt's eyes darted between me and my brother. My mother's face had gone pale. Someone whispered, "Oh my God," under their breath. My brother tried to laugh it off. Okay, chill. It was just a joke. Don't be so dramatic." But I didn't let him off this time. "No," I said firmly. "This wasn't a joke. This was months of whispers, of people questioning me, of my grandmother calling me a liar to my face because of you. This was my joy being turned into a circus, my truth being doubted at every turn. You don't get to say it was a joke." His smirk cracked, just slightly. He looked around, maybe realizing for the first time that no one was laughing with him. The room wasn't on his side anymore. My father cleared his throat, his voice low and sharp. "Enough." He was looking at my brother, not me. "You've embarrassed this family. You've embarrassed yourself. Do you think this is how men behave? To tear down your own sister when she's carrying life. It should have felt like victory. It should have felt like justice. But what I felt instead was exhaustion. Months of carrying not just a child, but the weight of doubt, and finally letting it all out, left me trembling. I excused myself and went to the bathroom, locking the door behind me. I sat on the edge of the tub, tears sliding down my cheeks, not because I was weak, but because I finally let myself feel everything. I stayed in there longer than I should have, long enough to hear the muffled sounds of guests leaving, long enough for the party atmosphere to fade into an awkward silence. When I finally came out, only my fiancé was waiting, leaning against the wall. He didn't say anything at first, he just pulled me into his arms, and I buried my face in his chest. "Do you feel better?" he asked softly. "Not yet," I admitted, "but I feel free, like I finally stopped letting him control the story." That night, after everyone was gone, my parents called. My mom's voice was shaky. She said, "I didn't know what to believe. I'm sorry I ever let his words take root." And that's when it hit me, the real damage wasn't just the lie itself, but how easily people let it grow. My brother planted it, yes, but others watered it with their silence, with their sideways glances, with their refusal to question him. And I realized I couldn't just fix this by proving my truth. I had to change how I let people treat me. In the weeks that followed, my brother tried to mend things. He texted, "Didn't mean to hurt you." He sent a half-hearted meme, like humor could erase months of pain. He even showed up at my apartment once with a bag of baby clothes, saying, "Peace offering." But I wasn't ready to let him back in. Forgiveness, I learned, isn't automatic. It's not something you give because you're family. It's something that has to be earned. And he hadn't earned it yet. Instead, I poured myself into preparing for the baby. Every kick, every hiccup inside me became a reminder that I didn't need outside validation. I had proof every single day. I started posting less online, not because I was hiding, but because I realized I didn't need strangers' approval to know what was real. My fiance and I painted the nursery together, arguing playfully over wall colors, laughing when the crib instructions made no sense. For the first time in months, I felt present in my own life again. And then the baby came. The labor was long, messy, painful, everything they say it will be and more. But when I held my child for the first time, tiny and wrinkled and perfect, I felt a surge of vindication. Here was the truth, undeniable, living and breathing in my arms. No one could take that away. My parents visited the hospital, teary-eyed, apologizing again for ever doubting. Friends came, bringing flowers and stuffed animals, their congratulations tinged with guilt. Even my grandmother, who had once called me a liar, kissed my baby's forehead and whispered I was wrong. But my brother didn't come. Not right away. He sent a text the next day. "Congrats, he's beautiful. I'm sorry." I stared at the screen for a long time, my baby asleep in the bassinet beside me. For months I had imagined this moment, him admitting he was wrong. I thought it would feel like victory. Instead, it felt hollow, because some wounds don't heal with a single word. When he finally did visit, he stood awkwardly by the hospital bed, hands shoved in his pockets. He looked smaller somehow, not in size but in presence, like he knew he wasn't welcome. "I screwed up," he said, his voice quieter than I'd ever heard it. I thought it was funny. I didn't realize how much damage I was doing. "I'm sorry." I looked at him, then at my baby, then back at him, and I said, "This is your nephew. He deserves an uncle he can look up to. If you want to be that, you need to do better. A lot better." He nodded, and for the first time I believed maybe he understood. The months after that weren't perfect. Healing isn't linear. Sometimes I'd catch myself doubting him, wondering if he really changed, if another careless comment would undo it all. But then he'd show up with diapers, with meals, with offers to babysit. He started being present in small, consistent ways. And slowly, brick by brick, he began rebuilding the trust he had destroyed. Looking back now, I realize the whole ordeal taught me more than I wanted to learn. It taught me that family isn't just about blood, it's about behavior. That truth doesn't always win on its own. Sometimes you have to fight for it, loud and unflinching. And that joy, especially the kind that comes from creating life, is too sacred to let anyone steal. My brother's lie will always be a part of my story, but so will the moment I stood up at my baby shower, pressed play on that heartbeat, and reclaimed my truth. And every time I hear that same heartbeat now, stronger, faster, alive in the little boy running around my living room, I'm reminded that no amount of doubt can erase what's real. Because this life I'm holding on to is the only proof I'll ever need.